Hey everybody, in today's video, I'm showing you how I use my 10-watt laser to cut applique fabric for embroidery. It's fast, precise, and totally changes the game for clean, professional finishes. So I had been doing appliques for a while using vinyl because it was simple to just go ahead and tear away. But once I tried to do fabric, I felt that the fabric was so much nicer, but I had a lot of issues with cutting around the fabric. In fact, here is the first one I ever did. And as you can see, it is quite messy. I did do a better job on this one. You can see that. I did do a better job on this one. However, we're gonna look at creating this design today. All right. So this one was done using my 10-watt laser. So I've seen a lot of videos with persons using their nice big lasers, and I thought, hey, would I be able to do this with my 10-watt laser? So I'm going to show you how I used my Creality Falcon A1 to cut my applique so that it is really nice and precise, and I would end up with a really great stitch out. So if you're interested in that, please stick around. If you're new, I'm Tanya with yanxa.creations, and on this channel, I love to share with you all my crafting ideas. I love to try new things and just share with you how that is going. So today I'm going to be using my Creality Falcon A1 10-watt laser, and I'm going to be using my Pulling EOC06 to create this design. So let's jump into exactly how we're going to do this. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is to take your position stitch and turn that into an SVG. So you're going to do exactly what you would do if you want to take your fabric to your Cricut or your Silhouette to cut out your applique pieces. You need an SVG file. So that's the first thing that you're going to do. I'm not going to focus on that today because I know a lot of us already use the Cricut to cut out the applique fabric. Frankly, I think the laser is actually much nicer if you figure out what settings you need. So what we're going to do instead is to take that SVG file and take it into Falcon Design Space, and then we're going to go through the process of cutting it out. So what I had to do was to play around with the machine a bit to figure out what settings would have worked best for me to cut out my fabric. So what I'm using is 100% cotton fabric, and I have backed it with heat and bond light, all right, to ensure that it doesn't fray and it's easier to cut. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in to Falcon Design Space. Okay, so once again, we are in Falcon Design Space, and what I'm going to be doing is to be cutting as bonded fabric. Now, the software, it comes with a lot of preloaded materials, as I showed you the last time. So if you pick plank, for example, and it will give you all the settings. Now, there was nothing there for bonded fabric, so I went and did add custom. And inside of that, so you see I have 100% cotton. This is, I was trying to engrave a t-shirt here, so that's a video that's coming up. All right. Then I did bonded fabric, and I did create some settings for it, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to appear every time. But inside of it, what I did, so you indicate that it's the 10-watt laser, and you would indicate what the cutting speed is. All right, confirm. And once you hit, you select and you hit confirm bonded fabric. I'm not sure what I did, because when I come here to say line cutting, the speed and the power that I chose does not show up, but it doesn't matter. I have gone ahead and pre-tested for my bonded fabric what those settings are going to be, and I found that I was able to cut it out very easily when I set my speed to 500, and I set my power to 50%. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So for line cutting of my bonded fabric, I'm using a speed of 500 and a power of 50%. So I did start off using a speed of 4,000 because I was thinking, okay, it's fabric. I don't want it to burn. I need to go really fast. And I started out using 20% power. That did absolutely nothing to the fabric. So I came down to 1,000 and I did 30% power. It did nothing. So I came down to 50%, 50% power and 500 speed, and I was able to cut through the fabric and the bonding. So at a speed of 1,030%, I was able to go through the fabric, but the bond, the heat and bond did not cut through. So this is what we're going to be working with. So just like if you were in Cricut Design Space because you wanted to cut your fabric on your Cricut, you would go ahead and you would import your file. So for me, that is 100% here. So I'm using the tap down and I've brought that in, and this is my cut file. All right, so pretty much everything is the size that it is supposed to be when it comes into Canvas. So the next thing that you'd want to do is go over to your camera. So mine says disconnected because I'm not connected to the machine. Once you're connected to the machine, it will recognize it and it will say it's the Creality Falcon A1 and a 10-watt laser. Once you're there, you just take a photograph of your fabric, and then you can go ahead and lay this down where on the fabric you want to get the nicest of patterns. All right, you can go ahead and lay it down. Once you do that, again, all you will need to do is to click frame. As I showed you in a previous video, the laser will move around to make sure that you are on the part of the fabric that you want to be, and then you just click start. Now, this was literally a 2-minute process to cut out all of this. It took 2 minutes, so that was awesome. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect to the machine, and I'm going to show you the whole process of it cutting out. Okay guys, so I apparently don't have the footage for when the laser was framing, but you've seen that in a previous video. So right now the laser is getting ready to go and cut the 100%. So as I showed you previously in the software, I did everything exactly the same, and we're going to cut at a speed of 500 and a power of 50%. So let's watch it for a while, do the cutout, and then once we do the cutout, I'll show you how clean and pretty this is, and you'll get to embroidery. Okay, it's all done. So let's open this up and get our fabric out. So as you can see right here, it's very easy to just pull those numbers out. So where I had to just snap that one out, that is where the heat and bond got a little bit melted, but other than that, it's quite fine. And I just pull out pieces. I'm just going to go ahead and set up my hooping station, get my hoop and my t-shirt on there. I'm just going to show you the embroiderer's friend. I'm going to show you how I lay down my magnetic hoop and get the t-shirt on, and I use my magnets around it to get a very nice firm structure to embroider on. So let's go ahead and we're just going to set this up, and it's, you can see it's very easy. So the t-shirt that you're looking on, you can see that I did an embroidery on that. Before that was me using vinyl. So I'm just going to use the same t-shirt to practice on for this one. So let's get everything situated and head over to the machine. So guys, I apologize once again. It seems I have some missing footage. So I can see where I moved the camera over to the embroidery machine, but when I started the process, somehow I must have paused the recording. So what you're seeing is where I've already started the stitch out around the fabric. So what I had done here was to remove the paper backing from the heat and bond, and then I sprayed it with a light glue spray, and then I stuck it down onto the fabric where it had done the outline. And once I had it in place, I started to do my satin border around it. All right, so I apologize again for that, but I seem not to have the footage where I was gluing down the pieces that were laser cut. So again, all you need to do is remove the backing. You have two options. You can remove the backing and take the hoop off the embroidery machine and use your heat press and lightly bond it to the fabric, or you can do what I did, where I did a little bit of the basting spray on the back of it after I removed the paper backing, and then that allowed me to leave the hoop on the machine and then just stick the fabric in the outlines and then start the satin border. All right, so that's exactly what I did right here. So of course, our next step is just to get it off the machine. We're going to remove the magnets and do a little bit of cleanup, and we are going to actually heat press the fabric that has been backed by the heat and bond onto the t-shirt, and that is it all done. If you want to use your 10-watt laser, remember you will need to probably do a little bit of testing depending on which fabric you are using. I was using a very light 100% cotton with the heat on bond on the back, but I was able to cut through that very, very easily with a speed of 550%. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something from this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.